Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving into a really fascinating piece of game design from Immortal Realm, specifically focusing on a starting area called New Haven. Now, if you've ever played an online RPG, you already know that the absolute hardest part of any new game isn't the endgame raids or the big bosses, it's the very beginning. It's figuring out how to actually play the game without pulling your hair out. So let's jump right in and see exactly how Immortal Realm absolutely masters that crucial, make-or-break first 30 minutes of a new character's journey.
This perfectly frames the classic MMO onboarding problem we've all faced. On one extreme, you have the classic Ultima Online drop-in. We all know it, it's notoriously brutal. You just dropped into a city with zero guidance, absolutely no quest pointers, and a punishingly steep death curve. Literally, so many players quit in the first hour just because they have no idea what to do. But then, on the complete opposite side, you have the modern failure, the over-tutorialized MMO. You know the ones, those hour-long mandatory snooze fests that force you to read through every single system before you're actually allowed to, play the game. Immortal Realm's New Haven is built specifically to completely avoid both of these extremes.
Here is our quick quest log for the explainer today. We'll start with the MMO onboarding problem, move into the welcome quest, check out the starter lane, look inside Young Protection, and finally, graduate to the Shard.
All right, Section 1, the MMO onboarding problem and why those first 30 minutes matter.
There is a saying in game design, the first 30 minutes determine whether someone keeps playing. It sounds simple, but honestly, it is absolutely crucial. The developers of Immortal Realm built New Haven for the exact purpose of solving this early retention problem. They designed a space that acts as this perfect Goldilocks middle ground. Not too harsh, not too boring. It's basically an entire city built to answer that panicked question of, okay, what do I do first? Without just throwing you to the wolves.
Moving on to Section 2, the welcome quest, or a new beginning with Guide Aaron. So, picture this. You spawn into New Haven, and boom, right there's an NPC named Guide Aaron, who immediately offers you a nice, structured 4-step loop. First up, a quick combat trial, where you take out 3 starter mobs. Second, you head over to Banker Rowan to pop open your bank box. Third, you drop by Smith Tessa to check out the crafting interface. And finally, you discover the New Haven Moongate to learn how realm travel works. The genius here is that it's actively teaching you the core verbs of Ultima Online: fighting, banking, crafting, and traveling, but you're actually rehearsing the actions yourself rather than reading massive walls of text.
And here is the kicker, pacing. If you don't dawdle, this entire 4-step sequence takes just 20 minutes. That's it. It's just long enough to teach those core verbs, but short enough to completely respect your time. Every single step is something you're going to be doing constantly in normal gameplay, but here it's presented in a super low-stakes context where making a mistake costs you absolutely nothing.
Plus, there's a really nice tangible reward for finishing it. When you return to Guide Aaron with all 4 progress tokens, you get some starter gear, a pointer on where to head next, and 500 gold. Now, 500 gold might not seem huge later on, but right out of the gate, that's a meaningful starting bundle. It gives you the immediate capital to grab basic survival supplies, food, extra bandages, or if you're playing a spellcaster, some much-needed reagents.
Now you might be wondering, what if I already know how to play? Say you're a returning player rolling a new alt character. Well, a system actually recognizes your account. Guide Aaron will let you completely skip the 4-step loop and just hand you the starter gear straight away. This is such a brilliant piece of design because it ensures new players get the onboarding they desperately need, while veterans aren't forced to grind through a tutorial they mastered years ago.
Okay, Section 3, expanding the starter lane and that crucial first-week loop.
Once your 20-minute welcome is done, the training wheels come off a bit and player agency really takes over. You've got 6 different single-session starter quests to pick from. Want to practice some low-stakes combat? Go chat with Tommy for the Duel at Dawn. Interested in seeing how early dungeons work? Healer Bryn has the Haunted Library waiting for you. Or maybe you're more into the non-combat side of things. You can actually help Alchemist Vance and Willow take care of a sick pig, or even try your hand at animal taming with Billy's golden horse. It's like a giant puzzle, where each quest safely lets you practice a specific mechanic that matches exactly how you want to play.
The absolute best part of this starter lane is the freedom. You pick based entirely on what interests you. Now, it is strongly recommended for new players to do these because they pay out the gold and gear you really need to bridge that awkward gap between just spawning in and being ready for the mid-game. But the main takeaway here, there's no gated completion. You don't have to grind them all. If a quest doesn't sound fun, just skip it. You can always return weeks later to finish it up if you feel like it.
Which brings us to Section 4, Inside Young Protection, your learning window.
So while you are exploring New Haven, you'll notice your character has this Young flag. Young Protection is basically a time-gated safety net that puts you in a slightly softer version of the world. It grants you reduced damage from monsters, so early slip-ups aren't instantly fatal. Most importantly, it gives you partial loot protection when you die, which totally mutes the most punishing aspect of classic Ultima Online. And on top of that, it completely disables PvP risk, meaning other players cannot attack you against your will while you're still figuring out the ropes.
Because it's time-gated, meaning it lifts automatically after a set amount of playtime, you actually can choose to turn it off early. But the explicit advice here, leave it alone. Seriously, just let it expire naturally. Use this learning window. This protection deliberately shrinks the cost of making mistakes, letting you confidently experiment and figure out the game systems without the stress.
All right, final section, Section 5, Graduating to the Shard and Leaving the Quarantine.
Now, I use the word quarantined here quite purposefully. New Haven is deliberately isolated from the broader, more complex civic systems of the game. You're not going to find order recruitment, you won't see crown writs or bounty boards, and you definitely won't find any of the dangerous PvP-heavy Felucicide endgame stuff. And that's an intentional design choice. New Haven is meant to be an appetizer, an introduction, not some overwhelming miniature version of the entire shard.
Let's look at how this all flows together chronologically. Minute 1, you spawn in and meet Guide Arn. By minute 20, you've wrapped up the welcome quest, banked your 500 gold, and learned the core verbs. By minute 30, you've likely picked up a starter quest like a warrior's errand, or maybe you've stepped through the Moongate to check out a major city like Britain. And then, somewhere around day 7 of playtime, that young protection simply expires naturally as you fully integrate into the broader shard.
But keep this in mind. Graduation isn't formal. There is no grand ceremony, no final boss you have to defeat to be allowed to leave New Haven. Graduating literally just means walking right up to the Moongate, stepping through to a hub like Britain, and deciding you're ready to engage with the bigger world of Immortal Realm. And hey, you can always step right back through if you want to return.
This whole 30-minute onboarding journey is just masterfully crafted to turn what used to be a confusing, brutal drop-in into a really welcoming, structured adventure. It respects your time, it gives you the tools you need, protects you while you learn, and then just opens the door. So, knowing how much care has gone into paving this starter lane for you, are you ready to step through the Moongate?